So before we start the class, you may want to know the situation at the monastery. So the situation at the monastery is a little bit serious. We have some new cases. A few days ago, a relatively young monk lost his life for the virus, though he got some underlying, the health problem, diabetes, as well as I think what you call some other illnesses. So he passed away a few days ago. And because of most of the monks age above 60, and also age between 45 and 60 who have some underlying illnesses, we all got both majority had already both jabs and Oxford anesthetic jabs. So because of that, the age above 60s are relatively, so far there's no, case. Majority are below the age 40 and like that. So because of the age, apart from that, young monk lost his life, and there's one monk who is in hospital, have a little bit difficulty with the breathing. He has been there now 7 days or 8 days. Apart from that, majority of the monks who got the symptoms, they all are, just all right. They all are separated and, they're in quarantine. So, yes, situation is little serious. We don't know how long it is going to go, but we are not really panicking, not getting oxygens and so forth. We have both Serge and May, we have several oxygen cylinders, and also the Tibetan community also have a small clinic. They also have some oxygen cylinders. So that is the situation. The state where we are, Karnataka state, is currently the most sort of virus spread states. It seems now the southern states, Karnataka state, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, these are battling with the with this virus, and so entire state is in a strict quarantine, or not strict lockdown. So that also helps. People are not traveling that much. So that is our current situation. I just let you know. Many of you may want to know and concerned about. So that is the situation, and hopefully, this current wave will slowly move away from us, and that is our prayer and hope. And we are doing all our best. All the what we can do, we do at our best. I feel very sorry for those small boys now who are stuck with their teachers. Normally they come to the schools and they have lots of, during the day, 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. They have lots of time together in the school. Now they are stuck with their individual teachers, and I feel very sorry to them. It is not easy for them, and yeah, and social distancing and all those things we keep reminding. And as I mentioned, so, in the past, one thing which I have learned from these very energetic young monks, once order is given, somehow like military, they are quite obeying the order, which is something positive. Though they need to remind every now and then, but I'm very impressed how obedient they are, or they are very frightened with the virus. I don't know which one is, but whatever the case, they are very obedient, which is quite good. Okay, so I just want to let you know our current situation. Okay, now we will start today's our gathering, the class, and we will start with saying the refuge and the bodhicitta lines. As you all know very clearly, being able to hold, being able to experience these two mind taking refuge in three jewels, with a clear understanding of the qualities of the three jewels and the detailed understanding of the nature of our unenlightened existence, dukkha, and the origins of dukkha. And with these two, the realizations, then taking taking refuge, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and Buddha as our teacher, or Buddhas as our teachers, mentors, and the Dharma as the actual means, methods to be applied in our daily lives, to be experienced within ourselves, and the Sangha as our spiritual friends. And as you know, not only once, not only twice, every now and then, in the morning, during the day, in the evening, whenever there are times to bring that mind, the mind taking refuge. And then the second one is the altruistic awakened mind, bodhicitta, the mind which, sincerely, genuinely cares, concerns of well-beings of all living creatures. And that concern and care, sincere concern and care, that kind of mental state is, and these kind of mental states are cultivated with a clear understanding of the nature of all the living beings, their unenlightened nature, and their connection with us, our well-being, those fortunate virtues, wholesomes, are very much related to those living beings, not just our loved ones, not just those we have positive connections, but also those we have difficult relationship. All our virtues, wholesomes, goodnesses are very much related to these all living beings for one way or another. And they are also, like ourselves, have a strong yearning for happiness, for joys, and strongly, the what you call the don't want any form of pain and difficulties. With these, based on these understanding, technically called equalizing oneself with others, exchanging oneself with others, kindness of all living beings. With this understanding, then they cultivate, experience this in a strong sense of love, compassion, altruism to all living beings. And with these two minds, as our main intention, not just to join this gathering, but also, all our, our survivals, our all our activities of the body, speech, and mind are something for the sake of the all living beings. And with that kind of motivation, intention to join the gathering will be very, very helpful. So we will say the refuge and the bodhicitta lines. Sangye che da so ji cho na ma la chang ju pa do da ne ja so che da ge jen so ji be cho na ma ji do la pen je sangye do ba ra sho Sangye che da so ji cho na ma la chang ju pa do da ne ja so che da ge jen so ji be cho na ma ji do la pen je sangye do ba ra sho. Sangye che da so ji cho na ma la chang ju pa do da ne ja so che da ge jen so ji be cho na ma ji do la pen je sangye do ba ra sho. Oh yeah. Now we will say a few times the six syllable mantra of Avalokiteshvara, Chenrezig. As this deity in many different forms, thousand in a form of 1,000 arms, 11 heads, and or 4 arms, or many other appears in many different forms. All these, the different forms of Avalokiteshvara, Chenrezig, is the embodiment of all the enlightened beings' great compassion to manifest in many different forms for the practitioners, sincere practitioners. And also there are many different mantras that represents these different forms of Chenrezig Avalokiteshvara. And the common one is this 6-syllable mantra which really captures the essence of the teachings of the Buddha, that is compassion and wisdom, the union, the union of compassion and wisdom. Through that, then when we say the the mantra with the strong, in our mind, thinking about the, the living beings, difficulties, challenges, sufferings, fears, and so forth to be, pacified, to be eliminated through reaching, by the reaching and the, the union or the union of compassion and wisdom by saying the mantra with the holding the image of Jerusalem in front of us or above our head. So with that, we will say the Jerusalem mantra together. Om Mane ne pe o ne Oh, yeah. Thank you. So, our reading this beautiful text written by this great Tibetan master, Geshe 14th century, great scholar as well as great practitioner, and also very much involved in social, the what you call the activities around his time. One of the main social activities is really providing the people to come together and to practice together, like starting the great prayer, the great prayer, what you call the festival after the Tibetan New Year, in Lhasa, and many other amazing social activities were did during his time. He did amazing social activities. So this great masters writing this text, prayer for birth in Sukhavati, realm of bliss, and that is the text that we are reading. Wacana Malam. And we have we finished those, the verses. The verses which are the first two verses are more like the first verse is paying homage to Buddha, the Amitayus, the long life deity, and the second verse is saying he will write the qualities of the realm of bliss or Sukhavati, as the historical Buddha, the praised, praised many times the qualities of that realm, and those two verses are more like the traditionally these great Indian masters and Tibetan teachers, when they engage in some important events, they pay homage in order to, to not to rise arrogant mind, and also pay homage to the deity, to the holy beings, to be successful or their writing or their activity, what they are starting. And the second verse is really to make sure the work is done, completed, and those are the traditionally which. And then from the third verse, and there are actually two verses in the third and fourth verses are very much explaining our own this unenlightened situation, to reminding us this unenlightened situation, and that is very crucial. As I mentioned, these two verses are more or less explaining the Buddha's in the Buddha's first teaching, the Four Noble Truths. First two Noble Truths are quite detailedly, quite sort of, nicely explained in these two verses, verse 3 and verse 4, which is very, very important for us, because here the prayer is, say, prayer for prayer for birth in Sukhavati, to do that prayer, to meditate on the coming, those our prayer, and we have to understand our current situation, or we have to understand the situations of all living beings, all living creatures, and that is what these two verses, verse 3 and 4. Then after that, the recalling or creating the atmosphere or the environment, and that when we do the prayer, following prayer, inviting the Buddha Mitayos, and then also Chenresik, Avalokiteshvara, and the Vajrapani, then these three, the figures are surrounded by all those, and then in front of them, saying, or expressing, our wish, our yearning, and also reminding them, their sort of promise they made when they were in the training, so those are the verses that we had covered. I think we have finished those verses. Now the actual prayer starts. And from here, what we have is not in a verse form, but in a loose sentences, and which is, here in English, nicely put into paragraph. Each paragraph gives us a particular thing or particular point to pray, to think when while we are saying this. So now the first paragraph that we start saying, by the power of immense twin accumulation of spiritual merit. So this is really talking about, so when either we are this prayer is said for our own sake or for the sake of the people who passed away, or ourselves training, when our death come close, what kind of mindset, what kind of the mindset that we should have. And this is what here, as I mentioned the other day, this prayer is recited, for in the monastery, collectively, individually. Most of the Giluk young boys have memorized this prayer. They can recite by heart. And now, although nowadays memorization is getting less, but in our time, 40 years ago, or even more than 40 years ago, when I memorized this text, when I'm been 13 years old, or so the prayer is said, for one's own training, for one's own mind, when the last part of our life comes, or our life during the closing the curtain, and what kind of mindset that we should have, or when we are saying for the sake of others, and what we are praying, what we are yearning for those people that we are praying for. And that's what here something is important to remember. And the first part of this prayer, as it clearly stated in the first this long 3 or 4 lines sentence, it says, what we are dedicating here, what we have here is saying, our those virtues that we have created in the past, that we are creating at the present, that we will create in the future. And not only our own those virtues, wholesome, the deeds, but also thinking the wholesome virtues that are done by created by all the other living beings, and bringing all these together in as something that we as like the if I use that word, although it may not be a nice word, as what's called the capital. When people invest, you need capital. So not really nice word, but I will use that word here. So those virtues, and here they said spiritual merit stored by others and myself, past, present, and future. So that is what we hear, what we are, and that is the capital, or that's the base. Then on that base, then we are making the prayer. It says, a prayer that when death draws near, I see before me my guide Amitabha. That is out of those 3 figures, the main figure, Buddha Amitabha, because this pure land that we are praying to be born is the Buddha Amitabha's pure land. Though each Buddha has their own pure land. As I mentioned other day, pure land should not have a sort of image or some kind of physical place to go. It is very much, our mental experiencing to at the different stages, when our mental state, when our self reach into different stages, and our mental experiences. And that is here, although there are clear description of the, all the arrangements, but mainly it is not physical realm, it is a mental realm, which we should understand that. So why the Buddha Amitabha here? Each Buddha, while they were training in the path to attain full enlightenment, each Buddha, and bodhicitta, when they're first in the early stage, when they are training, for example, it is said in the sutras, the historical Buddha Gautama, the Gautama Buddha, his, the compassion, great compassion, his great compassion, and also his bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, is risen or is generated while he was in an unfortunate realm, and seeing some of his colleagues, some of his the people or beings in that unfortunate realm, seeing how much suffering they are going through, and seeing that as a main sort of main cause or main like the main triggering, and then cultivate deep compassion, and that move to generate bodhicitta. And like that, each Buddha, they while they're in the training, they what's called triggering to have great compassion. Then bodhicitta is in a particular event or particular situation. So because of that, then when they are in the training, in the journey, then they make particular or specific, prayer, specific promise, specific, the sort of promise or they made. And the Buddha Amitabha, while Buddha Amitabha was in the process of training, seeing so many unfortunate realms, so many suffering realms of sufferings, then that really triggers him to Buddha Amitabha. His while he was in the training, then to make that prayer, to all the realm be joy or the bliss, a joyful or blissful realm. And that's what here the basic story or the basic, the why Buddha Amitabha here, or Buddha Amitabha is Pure Land is quite often come across. In reality, each and every enlightened being has their own Pure Land, and it is in the process. That's how. So it says this: I see before me. So that is what here we need to create. We need to create that kind of what's called the atmosphere. Seeing or imagining, the visualizing Buddha Amitabha in front of us, in front of Amitabha. His two main disciples, that are those two bodhisattvas, on the right hand Avalokiteshvara, on the left hand Vajrapani, that we saw earlier. His two main disciples, his entourage, and all the other bodhisattvas and others. So that is setting the what's called environment, or setting the environment or surrounding, and so there are two things so far: the power, immense power of our virtues and the virtues of the others. That that's the one thing. And the second one is to when we come close to our death, be able to see, be able to have the vision of Buddha Amitabha and his two main disciples and all the other retinues, others. At that time, I have strong faith in this great conqueror and his entourage, and be free from pains of dying. So that is, added a little bit more. It says at that time of the, that we are, the close to death. At that time, with our strong faith, strong conviction in the spiritual journey, in the spiritual, that we have, what you call the practice, love, compassion, altruism, bodhicitta, all those, and so on, all those we have, the strong faith in this great conqueror. And so the strong faith, clear faith will occur when we have these, the qualities of love, compassion, altruism, understanding of emptiness, and so on and so forth. When I have these things within ourselves, then there's no doubt we'll have a deep, strong faith in these surrounding Buddha's, great conqueror and his entourage. This refers to the Buddha Amitabha and to be free from pains of dying. So the fear, concern, because there are many different, at the time of the death, because of separation of many things that we have collected, including the body that we had together since we conceived in our mother, and also not really knowing what is the next. Not only physical pain, physical confusion. These can be particularly modern time. The physical pain can be can be relieved, can be minimized by using, but mental confusion, mental fear, mental pain, there is not easy to. But this is what here, saying free from the pain of dying. By recalling and holding in my mind the objects of faith, and the objects of faith here like the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Also like the one's own teachers, one's own those great masters, and also in this case, Buddha Amitabha, Chenrezig, Bajapani. So that's what here, holding in my mind object of faith. As I mentioned at the beginning of the class, the constantly reminding ourselves the refuge, our refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and taking refuge, in three jewels. And that is what here, these, when we do, while we are in a healthy mind, while we are in a relatively healthy body, while we are able, at those days, we need to prepare. If we do that, then when we face, these kind of inevitable or these kind of unavoidable situation, then less panic, less what you call the fear, and so on and so forth. And there's a very strong possibility to have, as it says here, holding in my mind the objects of faith. I pray that as soon as my consciousness has left this body, and so that is the next stage, talking about up to here is talking about having all those visions, having all those faith and convictions, and then now talking about when the consciousness, leaves this current body, when the consciousness has left this body, the 8 bodhisattvas arrived by miraculously power to show the way to Sukhavati. The 8 bodhisattvas. 8 bodhisattvas are the Jaya Chanantoji Generisi, Sayinibu, Tipa number 6, Nanginibu, Champakundu Sang, Nyewe Sejinje. Quite often, in Tibetan, the term is used, Nyewe Sejinje. Nyewa, it means approximate or close. Close, approximate in the sense, these bodhisattvas are now close to attain enlightenment. And these are also, the close disciple of from the Mahayana teachings point of view, close disciple of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And so there are 8 bodhisattvas. 8 bodhisattvas are Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara. So Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani, Kishtigapa, Asaka Garba, Samandabhadra, that is Kundu Sangbo, Samandabhadra, then Savarani Varan, Savarani Vanan, then Maitreya. So Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani, Kishtigapa, Asaka Garba, Samadabhadra, Savarani Vana, and Savarani Vana, and Maitreya. Those are the 8 bodhisattvas. If you don't get this, you can Google it. You will get it these days very easily. Google is our best friend to find out those things. So so those are the 8 bodhisattvas. When they come into bodhisattva's form, they all come as a 1 face, 2 arms, most of the time standing, particularly in the Indian style, but in the Tibetan style, they come also sitting, and they all, their left hand is in a gesture of refuge, giving refuge, and the right hand holds their individual symbols. And that is the difference. Otherwise, almost identical. I'm talking about in the painting or in the statue. I never met them, so I don't know their figures, exactly how they look like. Do you remember? I've told you that story. As many of you know, and some of you come with us. When we done this 2-3 pilgrimage, and I think that might be the 2nd time or the 3rd time. I can't remember exactly. But one time, the historical Buddha passed away and he cremated his body, Kushinagara. And one morning, or most of the time we stayed there 3 nights. That means 2 mornings. One morning I was walking alone, walking towards the actual that cremated away. His body is cremated, and there's the big like a stupa, not really stupa, but the big pile of bricks. And I was just walking from our staying hotel, not very far from that hotel to that, and suddenly, come into my head, towards me a tall Indian guy, quite slim, tall Indian guy, maybe in his late 70s and 80s, coming towards me with a bicycle. And somehow it triggered me to think, oh, when historical Buddha was in this area, he might look like that guy with a although not bicycle, but he was quite tall and very good looking, but tall and age in that, and not overweight, and so on and so forth. I thought, he might be, Buddha Shakyamuni might be like that sort of person because he was relative in, say, local person, local man. So anyway, so I never met those 8 bodhisattvas. So don't ask me exactly how they look like, and so that is, yeah. Anyway, 8 bodhisattvas arrived by miraculous power. So that is that in our prayer, in our meditation, when my consciousness leaves current body, 8 bodhisattvas, appeared in my consciousness, the departure in front of my consciousness, which is departing from this life. And these 8 bodhisattvas guide me to the Sukhavati. That's what he says. Power to show the way to Sukhavati. There to be born within a jeweled lotus of intelligent mind and of Mahayana family. And that is really the jewel lotus. His Holiness Dalai Lama says very often, with a joke. He says, I don't think I will be that happy to walk or to sit on the jewel lotus. Jewelries are very tough and may not be that kind of comfortable to sit on jewel lotus. But these are the symbols. These are the symbols, not talking about real jewels. It is not really talking about the physical lotus. These are the symbols of, the lotus quite often symbolizes compassion, and the jewels quite often symbolizes wisdom, or sometimes other way around. It depends on the master's interpretation. For example, in the 6-syllable mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, Padma represents wisdom, and the Padma is the lotus. So sometimes it moves back and forth, and so that is here of then it says of intelligent mind. It is talking about wisdom, intelligent mind, wisdom, and of the Mahayana family. So I will just read first that paragraph in Tibetan. 다당 신기 두순단 퇴외 총리지 야존남 조직도 dombe tula tene 다치외 뒤니와 네바나 덴바 어바도 메바 세계 토니라 소베 코르지 고르와 무슨도 통신 대체 겨와 코르당 지바나 미베 랍도 대바 차고 제대 뉴주비 동네 메바당 대바 유당 제베 미제베 템베 시포마타도 야외 세보제 주주기 하대 대화 전도 저외 남치다와 신도 템바라 때네 대화 전기 신태를 리보체 빼말레 택과침을 리진 온고는과 샤다도 대화 주지. Okay, now here I need to edit a few things in here, reading the Tibetan text. And so that first, what we are, as it clearly mentioned in the English, the recalling, recollecting, thinking all the virtues, wholesomes that we have created and created by others. That is the base or the foundation. And then, using that collection of virtues, power of that collection, then thinking, when close to my death, close to my death, this, the Buddha Amitabha and his two main disciples, which are there, which are surrounded by all the, their retinues, and the what you call Musumdo Tongshin, seeing, that kind of image, seeing that kind of present in front of me by the power of the virtues that we have created, collected, Tongshin. By seeing that, the Amitabha and his two disciples, then the oneself got a tremendous, strong faith towards the Buddha Amitabha, two main disciples, and all the retinues. Due to having that kind of strong faith in those figures, then not to have any fear, any pain, what to call it, going to die. The same time, with strong faith to recall those object of the refuge, object of the faith, Tembe, by recalling that, then due to that power, then as soon as my consciousness departs from this current body, then able to see those 8 bodhisattvas who are arrived with the power of their miraculous power, and these 8 bodhisattvas, guide me to be born in this, the jewel lotus, the Sukhavati, and Pamale, Tebachembu, Rinjio Obonova, and the being born there, not just being born there as a person who has all the, the faculties, sharp faculties, and the bodhisattva, what you call the, like the sharp faculty bodhisattva practitioners. Oneself to be not just to be born in Sukhavati, but born in Sukhavati as a sharp faculty bodhisattva practitioner. So that is the first part of the prayer that we need to need to think and contemplate and meditate. And very beautiful. If you say it in English slowly and say the lines and create the atmosphere, bring the which is very, very beautiful, to say that. Then the next paragraph. Now that we are born in Sukhavati as a sharp faculty Mahayana practitioner, a bodhisattva and a practitioner, once born in Sukhavati, may I gain immediately the powerful Dharani memory. So powerful Dharani memory, in Tibetan, Mijebe Song. Mijebe Song, it is a form of mental capacity. Mental capacity, once you gain that mental capacity, all the, the past teachings that you have received for many lifetimes, all those, the teachings that you have received will come into active, will become active. And that is what here saying the powerful Dharani memory. In Tibetan, it is called Mijebe Song. Mijeba, that means not forgetting. And Song is here called Dharani. It is a Sanskrit term, Dharani, in Tibetan, Song. Mijebe Song. Meditative concentration, the Dingenzin. Meditative concentration on emptiness, on impermanence, on nature of dukkha, and so on and so forth. Meditative concentration. The objectless body mind, that is ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta. Objectless, body mind is talking about ultimate bodhicitta. Mikwa mebe changjuki sen. Bodhicitta, which called bodhicitta, but realizes emptiness. Quite often, when we are studying that book, bodhicitta, there are two kinds: conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. Conventional bodhicitta is bodhicitta which has those two aspirations: aspiration to attain, aspiration to benefit all living beings, and aspiration to attain full enlightenment. When these two aspirations are become spontaneous, effortlessly occurred, then that is conventional bodhicitta. That mind is called conventional bodhicitta. The ultimate bodhicitta, it hasn't got these two aspirations. What is got is motivated, motivated or induced or motivated by this conventional bodhicitta, then realizes emptiness. And that realization of emptiness is called ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta. So here, the objectless body mind, inexhaustible competence, inexhaustible competence. That is what is really important. Do you remember when we are reading the King of Prayer? King of Prayer, a section where explains the qualities of the Buddha, the qualities of the Buddha. And in that group of qualities of the Buddha, like the 10 powers, do you remember that? 10 powers. And also for fearlessness. And that is what here also quite often, talking about Samishebe, Boba. So to explain, for example, to explain the noble truth of dukkha as it is, at the full confidence. There's no hesitation, there's no confusion, to talk to the one person or talk to the huge group of people or talk to the other Buddhas or talk to the sentient beings. There's no hesitation. Same as to talk the second noble truth, and that is what talking about confidence. So that is something Bodhisattvas, one of the most important qualities, confidence in the path that you are practicing. When we lose the confidence, then there is a risk to lose the bodhicitta. When we lose the confidence to serve living beings, then there is a risk of losing the bodhicitta. So that is some here talking about inexhaustible confidence and countless other qualities. Countless other qualities. Countless other qualities like tolerance, like patience, and many other qualities. Qualities to have skill to serve the living beings. Countless qualities. This sentence is really ones were born in Sukhavati, in the Pure Land, as an intelligent Mahayana practitioner, intelligent Mahayana practitioner, practitioner which have sharp faculty, then, immediately to get these qualities. The power of dharana memory, meditative concentration, objectless bodhicitta, inexhaustible confidence, and countless other qualities. By pleasing the highest of the teachers, Amitabha and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, may take with the properties. Yeah, okay. The Mayan teachings. So, in other words, saying that the teachings of the Bodhisattvas, ka long, ka in Tibetan is the teachings. The teachings of the Buddhas. Long is prophesied to saying such as such time you will be at such as such masters, in front of such as such masters, you have generated bodhicitta. And due to that, such as such in the sometime in the future, you will be born at such as, become as such a Buddha. And that is prophesied. So receiving the teachings of the Buddha and prophesied, and the Mayan teachings. So that is another nice paragraph. So I'll read in Tibetan. Yamatatu. Yamatatu, that means immediately to be born in Sukhavati. Yamatatu, Songdang, Tingin Zendang, Semi Shiva, Popa, Tingin Zendang, Mikpa Mebe, Changchuki, Semdang. Mikpa Mebe, Changchuki, here translated, objectless, bodhicitta. Semi Shiva, Popa la Sobe, Yuandenji, Topatu Meba, Tobatang, having those great qualities. Get those great qualities. Then Dombalana Meba, that great teacher, and Robato Meba, Sope, Chuju Jawa, Sedan Java, Tamje never Chene. So because you have gained all those great qualities, due to having those great qualities, all those great teachers, Buddha-Amitabhas, and all the other teachers in the Sukhavati, they all are very pleased, very pleased, never chene. Due to pleasing all those great teachers, and from them to receive all the teaching, Bodhisattva and the teachings, all the teachings, or all the Bodhisattva and the teachings, and prophecy from them, what kind of Buddha you will be born, you will be enlightened. So that is the second, the paragraph. So you can see the progress. You can see the progress going stage by stage. At this stage, now the stage is you gain all those qualities. You are in Sukhavati. You receive all those great qualities, and all those Buddha-Amitabha and all those teachers are very pleased, and you receive all those great Bodhisattva and the teachings. Then the next, when I have absorbed and understood the true meaning of these teachings, may I be able to travel in an instant and without hindrance to limitless Buddha realms by miraculous power, there to perfect every powerful practice of the Bodhisattvas. So, not only to be born in and receive those teachings, but also, by contemplation, by meditation, and doing all those, then you have understood the meaning of all the teachings, not intellectually, but practically, and true meaning of these teachings. Then by understanding the true meaning of those teachings, then also in order to gain further development, further realizations, then you travel to many different, the Buddhist realms, countless, limitless Buddhist realm, with the power, by realms by miracle powers. And that's what here, instant, these are something important. I be able to travel in an instant and without hindrance to limitless Buddha realms by miraculous power. And not just to go to those limitless, countless Buddhist realm, what is the main activity? To receive teachings, saying there to perfect every powerful practice of the Bodhisattva. bodhisattva. Tenam ki tun chidawa shingdo kundu chune, geji rere lang, sanje di shing, ramjamso, here translated limitless, ramjam, countless, same meaning. Zujugi tongme tu dune, changju sembe choba laboche. So choba laboche here translated powerful practice of the bodhisattva. Laboche, powerful laboche may have sometimes same meaning, but the laboche has another meaning in Tibetan. That it has tremendous impact to the result, and then it has that kind of meaning also. Labuche, chok labuche, sak, that means the accumulate or create great merit, which has tremendous impact to the future. So that's labuche here translated powerful practice. Okay. So, okay, I will read those two paragraphs. Now the next, though born in pure Sukhavati, I pray that I be able to journey with the unhindering miraculous power motivated by fierce compassion to impure realms, there to teach every living being the Dharma according to disposition, and so bring them to that immaculate path held by the Buddha. So again, here what we can see, we can see the main purpose. The main purpose to be born in Sukhavati is not on holiday. It is to be born in there to receive teaching, to receive those great bodhisattva qualities, and enhance your spiritual journey. And now this paragraph saying, not only that, to go to, with the power of your prayer, power of your, practice, to go to be born in those, unfortunate realms, and to, help countless living beings. And that's what here, which is important. It says, miracle power motivated by fierce compassion. And this is very important one. Tsawa Shuktapo, that very forceful compassion. That you do this, to go to these unfortunate realms, to support all these unfortunate beings due to your that powerful, forceful compassion. In pure realms, and dare to teach every living being, and the Dharma according to the disposition, according to their mental disposition, according to their need, and bring them to the, what is that one? So that is the, the very, very important part of our prayer. Our prayer to be born in Sukhavati is not ourselves to have joy, peace, comfortable. It is as a process to enhance the spiritual journey. And enhancing spiritual journey is not just receiving teachings, but it is also part of engaging in the bodhisattva deeds in those unfortunate realms. And this paragraph shows us that. Then the next, by quickly perfecting these exalted practices, may I, for the benefit of countless beings, easily attain enlightened state of Buddha. So this is make some form of like a conclusion up to the here, the process, the meditation, the prayer that we made up to here, like a small conclusion, which here. Joba metu chunga teda nyurtu zoba chebe gone taibe dwe tundu jewe goban talado toba yuji. Joba metu chunga, that means excellent deeds. Here they translated, perfecting these exalted practices, exalted or excellent, practices. May I, for the to attaining enlightenment is for the benefit of countless living beings, easily attain the state of enlightened Buddha. So that is the meditation, really to be born to do this kind of prayer, to be born in Sukhavati, to be born in blissful realm. The prayer involves really bodhicitta and all those bodhisattva deeds, and it's clearly demonstrated here. Okay, so I will leave here. Next, we will have, another step that we will do next time. Just to remind you, next Sunday we don't have this class because I'm doing a weekend course, as you may have seen in the announcement in the program. So we will have but we will continue week after. We'll continue week after reading this, and I'll because you have access to the text. The people who are in the Zoom, you can read it. It's beautiful text. Okay, yeah. We'll do there are some questions, and I will take questions sometime in other one of our gathering, not today. Yeah. Okay. Now the 21 Tara prayers. Om je che ma pa ma dro ma da cha che lo chan je dro ma nyu ma pa ma je ne ge je lo da da ma je de sun gu chu ji she je ka sa ra che wa le ne jo chan je dong ge da wa gun do ka wa je ne zi be she ka ma dong da so ba na ma ji ra do che ve ra pa ra Chanze sengwe chone je peme chane nambara je ma jemba zuzhu gadu she wa soba samden ju ne ma chanze deshin shebe fu taye nambara je wa je ma malu paro jemba to be gyave seji shindo de ma chanze do da rang ye ge de da choda namga Jigden Tombo Shabdi Nende, Luba Meba Guba Nema, Chanze Gajin Mela Tamba, Lungla Nato Wanju Chema, Chombo Rona Jisan Namanda, Nijin Soji Dune Tema, Chanze Deje Chatan Peji, Paro Chuku Rato Joma, Egon Yendang Shabdi Nende, Mebara Chuba Shindo Parama, Chanze Dure Jiba Chembo, Duji Pao Nambara Joma, Chuji Shane Panye Denze, Tao Tamje Malu Sema, Chanze Kunjo Somzen Chaje, Seme Toga Nambara Jema, Malu Chodi Kolo Jembe, Rangi Veji Sonama Chema, Chanze Rapto Gawa Jebe, Ojen Veji Chengwa Pelama, Shiba Rapshi Duda Rai, Dudan Chiken Wando Zema, Chanze Sashi Jongwe Sona, Tamje Guba Nima Nima, Chonye Yewa Yige Hongi, Pongba Tamje Nambara Droma, Chanze Dawe Dombo Oje, Yemba Tamje Shindo Parama, Rebe Tune Ba Mene, Tabara Shindo Rabazema, Chanze Nakeve Tama Mega, Barre Chenwe Une Nema, Yejang Yungum Kune Koroge,
Daye Pungne Nambara Joma, Chanze Sashi Mala Chagi, Tiki Nujin Shabi Doma, Tonye Jenze Yike Hongi, Reba Dumbo Namne Gama, Chanze Dema Gema Shema, Yangen Deshin Ju Nyema, Soa Umdang Yanda Dembe, Dikwa Chenbo Jomba Nyema, Chanze Kune Koraba Kage, Daye Lune Nambara Gema, Ige Jube Ngane Kwebe, Dikwa Hungle Joma Nyema, Chanze Ture Shamne Dabe, Hunge Nambe Sabe Nyema, Rira Menda Ratan Deje, Jikden Sumna Yewa Nyema, Chanze Hai Soye Nabe, Rita Tajen Chana Nama, Tara Niju Peye Yege, Duna Malu Pane Sema, Chanze Hai Sonam Gebo, Tada Mem Ji Dema, Kune Koja Kawa Ji, Zeda Melama Nyeba Sema, Chanze Nima Tawa Jebe, Jini Pola Verava Sema, Hara Niju Dudarai, Shindo Chabu Rine Sema, Chanze Tini Sunam Gebe, Shive Tuda Yandan Dema, Dudan Rona Nujin Sona, Chomba Ture Rapcho Nyema, Zawenga Di Deban Dita, Chanze Wane, Nyeshu Za. Dedication. Gewa Di Geo Sanama Yishe Zozo Shen Sanama Yishe Lechon Tamba Kuni Tobara Changjo Semcho Rimbo Che Maje Panama Jeju Je Jeba Nyamba Meba Yang Kongne Kongdu Pewara Kangri Rave Korve Shenkamande Penda Dewa Malu Jongwe Jenre Sewa Tenzin Jazo Shabe Sede Pado Tenjoro Je. Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I've just said, the next weekend I'm leading a weekend class requested by Vienna FMT Center that I had quite some time in a connection. And they asked me, the center is called Penjan Lobsang Chojen Center. Penjan Lobsang Chojen is fourth Penjan Lama and one of the most important figures in the Gelug tradition. And he wrote this amazing short text, what we call the root text on Mahamudra, according to the Gelug tradition practice of Mahamudra. And also he wrote a auto commentary on that Mahamudra. And the Mahamudra text, root text itself, has only 44 or 45 verses. In Tibetan, it is in a verse form, but the current translation that I have is in a loose sentence, not in a verse form. But in Tibetan, there are only 44 or 5 verses, and the auto commentary is also relatively short. So I've been thinking about reading this text quite some time while I was in Jamyang, and also particularly one time I was leading retreat, and I think 2 years in Leeds, and just outside Leeds. And I've been thinking about reading this Penjan Lobsang Chojen's text, and the center from Vienna called Panjalosang Choikin Center. They requested me to read this. So I accepted. And so I'm going to read that text. And although it's relatively short, I thought it is good to not to rush. So I plan to give 3 weekends. And not all weekends are consecutive. This weekend, and then second weekend will be sometime in winter, and last weekend will be sometime in next year. So because this kind of teaching need good, the sort of what's called the teaching itself, the text itself is more experiential writing text and need to the listen and give time to digest, to meditate on, to gain some experience, then move to the next stage, and then move to the next stage. So therefore, I'm going to do 3 weekends. So the term Mahamudra is very famous. Don't expect there is some kind of miraculous teachings in that Mahamudra teaching. It will be the very beautiful text, but the topic, the subject will be almost same. What we have been talking about constantly: compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness, so on and so forth. If you come with some kind of expectation, I'm going to hear some amazing new, what you call which I haven't heard before, and a very quick path to attain enlightenment, even before the pandemic is going to, subside, I'm going to attain enlightenment. Don't come with that kind of expectation. Then you will be fully disappointed. Anyway, so I've said, I thought it's good to say. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And have a good day. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you,
Take care.
Thank
you, Geshe. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Devang, Sue,
Good to see you.
and Barbara, and okay. Oh,
Lovely. Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I listen to Gautama. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Elena.
Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you. So I will see you
Take good care.
week after. And
Thank
take
you.
care.
And take care.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Take care of
Geshe.
yourself.
Take care of your health, Geshe.
Yes, be well.